Porn addiction is one of the most difficult things to get out of. And I believe it's the worst habit you can have. Because it not only damages you as an habit itself, but also keeps you in this momentum of shame, of guilt, of sadness. And that mindset, those feelings lead you to do even more bad habits. It makes it easier to fall into more vices. And whether you're struggling with this or not, we know it's not good for us. It makes us subhuman. Just notice how it makes you feel. Every time you do it, every time you fail. Just notice how that makes you feel. It leaves you with this sense of shame and guilt. But also, it just gets rid of all your power, all your energy, all your motivation. But I think that one of the most difficult things to deal with, and one of the most damaging ones, is it strips you away from your ability to connect with others, and especially with the other sex. Because you're not social when you just watch porn. Of course you're not. And it just leaves you with this weird energy. You're just disgusting. And I'm sorry, but you are. It's disgusting. So that's why we need to change it. It's not as complicated as you think, but it's way harder than you do. It's way harder than you think. It doesn't require much thought, it just requires consistency. Maybe you've already started to change, and just by the fact that you're already wanting to change, by the fact that you're already trying to get rid of this bad habit, that's a huge amount of progress. And if you keep that up, then you will see results. Probably not soon, because this specific habit is so hard to get out of. But you will eventually see results. So keep going. And also, what I believe the most effective way to get rid of this craving and this addiction is just to get out of your house. When you're out of your house, you wouldn't watch porn and jack off, wouldn't you? When you're at the mall or your familiar's house or a friend's house, well, you don't really get these surges, right? At least I hope so. But it's way easier when you're not locked away in your room. You can always access it on your phone. So spend as much possible time out of your house. It all comes down to how focused you can be on the other things. Because if you put all your focus on your porn addiction, then you won't really make any progress. Because we started this self-improvement journey, and specifically this path to get rid of our porn addiction. We did this to get out of that, right? To get out of these thoughts and these feelings. So why would we obsess ourselves over this? Why would we choose to always be thinking about this and always stress ourselves about this? Well, wouldn't it be better if we put all our focus in other things, other self-improvement habits, and getting out of our houses? And I promise you this, you will see results if you focus on other stuff. If you get out there and do stuff and just have fun. Because the times where you most crave this addiction is when you're hurt, when you're lost, when you're bored. Because when you're fulfilled, you don't think of watching porn. You need to spend more time doing the things that build you. That will incredibly help you. Not only because of the habits itself that are improving you and building you, but also because it will get you away from this addiction, which is fucking horrible. I know because I've been through it. And it's so hard to get out of, but you're not alone, I swear. There's a lot of people who have gone through it or are going through it. So, you can get out of it. But there's gonna be many challenges. And I believe one of them comes down to content consumption. Do me a favor and just check how much was your screen time this last week. How much was the average? And now, I want you to also check how much of that screen time was in short form content on just scrolling. That's when you're the most vulnerable. When you're most vulnerable to fall into this addiction. So I know this is a tall order, but you need to quit scrolling. It's such a harmful habit, and I know it's such a hard habit to get out of. But if you could, then you will be in such a way better position. Unfollow all the people who are posting triggering content. Maybe someone has popped into your mind. Well, that person you should unfollow. Because what do you prefer? To have an uncomfortable moment with that person? Like, hey, why did you stop following me? But no one fucking cares, right? Or keep being a slave to your addiction. Keep harming yourself almost every single day in such a way that leaves you so hurt. So hurt and so shameful. You lose so much self-love and confidence from this. So what would you rather? As I said earlier, this takes a lot of time, and you will fail many times, over and over again, even though it harms you so much, and you know it does. Even though you desperately want to get out of it, you won't, because it's a process, and you cannot escape this process. Failing is part of the process, and you have to endure. Trust me with this, there's gonna be a point where you don't even notice it, but you make a lot of progress. Let's say, if you watch porn like every single day for a week, and you started implementing this and started having the will to change, well, next week you will watch it 6 days out of 7. And then the next 2 weeks, you will watch it 5 days out of 7, and so on and so on. Also, another thing I want to address. I think masturbation is not the same as watching porn. I prefer 1,000 times of masturbation than 1 time of porn. Which best case scenario, you don't do any. It conserves your energy and doesn't make you a fucking weirdo. But I think it's way healthier to just do it without porn than to do it with it. And if you can get to a point where, 1, you're not watching porn, and 2, you're barely even masturbating, where it's not even a problem, where you don't even mind it, then you're set up. You already got out of it, and you're already living a normal life, which is what we wanted from the start. We want to stop thinking about this and stop feeling this way because of this bad habit. We're free from it. But you have to endure. You have to endure these times where it's so difficult and it's so harmful. It leaves you so hurt. But it's part of the process. And if you keep going, you will get to a point where it becomes easy. Where it becomes easy to maintain sober from this. But you have to keep trying. And by the way, I'm making a community for like-minded people on self-improvement. So if you want to see what's in there and see how I can help you, then top link in the description, you'll see it. Have hope in yourself.